How we doing, everybody? It's a
Oh,
beautiful Wednesday. Oh, wait, gotta share the stream link over into the Discord. Let the people know what's what. It's a beautiful
yeah.
Wednesday.
Well, there we go. Make sure
Oh,
I.
tell them all we're here. Are you sure you want to send this to 60 plus people? Yes, I do. Discord, don't judge me.
That's right, Discord. We want people to come hang out.
So welcome to the stream, Mouth Breathers Guild Live. Today, we are going to talk about comic books, as we are wont to do. This week, we're going to cover the Enfield Gang Massacre by Condon and Jacob Phillips. Super excited to dive into this one. I'm going to try to plug our stuff very quickly before we dive into things, so forgive me if I talk fast. But Mouth Breathers Guild has a website and a web store, mouthbreathersguild.com, where you can get our Western anthology, All You Can Eat. You can't get Time Police there, but you can buy this at Acme Comics or hit up Ben Hill, Ben_Hill_art, or the Time Police on Instagram. Find that, read that. It's a fun time. On the Mouth Breathers Guild web store, we also have Manny's book, Remise. It is dark fantasy, god-killing goodness. We've got Renowned, our monster of the week, high fantasy, sci-fi stories. Check it out. It's a collection of comics. And then Legend of Carl, not on the Mouth Breathers Guild website. Go to Manny's website, mannydraws.com. Read it. It's all on Webtoons. Just look it up, stupid. All right. Normally we waste about 5 minutes on promos and intros, and I'm trying to be better about that for the viewers. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're welcome.
Nice.
Fellas, how are we?
Dude, feeling good. Feeling real good. What a good story I just finished right before the stream. Man.
Excellent. Yes, I read this yesterday. I read it twice, honestly, because it was so dense. I felt like I was missing stuff.
Yeah, I definitely missed
And
some stuff, but man,
I will
it's
give the
good time.
disclaimer as well that I have not read that Texas Blood, but I have the first volume trade, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna read the hell out of that book ASAP
Yeah, I'm
because
on the
it
same page
was,
as you, man.
yeah,
Same.
it. There's 3 volumes of it that they advertise in the back of this book, so we'll get all three, and I will read all three because I like westerns. Speaking of westerns, did you know we made an anthology of westerns? You can buy
Oh.
that at mouthbreathersguild.com. Okay, I'm done with the plugs now.
And by the way, I will most likely be posting that up on Webtoons as well. My short
Oh,
within
nice.
there. So,
Nice.
be watching for more information on the Wanderer and see how you can read it. And I'll also have a link out to the store. So if you want to buy the full copy, you can.
Oh,
And
yeah.
before we dive into our actual initial thoughts about this book, I will, of course, read the solicit on the back just to kind of set the tone. In a battle between outlaws and lawmen, the truth will be the ultimate victim. A western that is as haunting as it is thrilling. The Enfield Gang Massacre tells the dark origin of that Texas Blood's Ambrose County, as only Jacob Phillips and Chris Condon can. Montgomery Enfield and his gang of outlaws find themselves in the crosshairs of an aging Texas Ranger in a newborn county that's hungry for law by any means necessary. This trade collects Enfield Gang Massacres number 1 through 6, plus a little 6-pager train heist story. That's great. Initially, I want to say that the art in this is amazing. The Western energy is great. It is a gritty kind of
Dude. Yeah.
outlaw, almost heist story. Very tragic. It's very dark and tragic, and does not have the most positive worldview. But man, I loved reading this.
Yeah.
Fellas, what did we think?
Dude, it was like reading Red Dead Redemption, you know? It's like
Yes.
another game that I want to play.
Well, so
The feeling
oh,
is
go ahead.
oh sorry, the feeling of this book, like what you were saying, just the vibe in general is 100% on the money. Solid work, Jacob Phillips. You're the man. Good shit. It feels pulpy, like even the book design itself is very classic, like in that old school like dime novel
Newsprint.
kind of thing. Yeah, and then we also like we're diving into the book itself and it's newsprint. It's got like newspaper articles, but it's just like, you know, articles I'm assuming of from the character in Texas Blood or whatever, maybe. I don't know. Little author notes.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Yeah. But man, just the color palettes, the character designs, definitely leaning on Lee Van Cleef for one of the character designs, and I love it, absolutely love it. And what's is it Charles Bronson is the guy in Once Upon a Time in the West?
Is that Charles Bronson?
Is that the actor? I can't remember. The guy playing the harmonica. But at least that character
It is
reminds
Charles
me.
Bronson.
Okay, cool.
And Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda, dude, it's so good. Anyway,
Yeah, Charles Bronson's the harmonica guy.
yeah,
Man, it's been a long time since I watched. It's probably been since college since I watched Once Upon a Time in the West. I'm about due for another viewing.
yeah, dude, it's so good. But anyway,
This
like,
also reminded me a lot of the Wild Bunch.
yes,
Oh,
especially with the Gatling gun bit, like
Mm-hmm.
that was awesome, and just the tone itself was very, very much on that same vibe. Anyway, I'll let you go, Ben. Great book.
Oh, no, you're good. So I blame both of you guys for getting me into the Enfield Gang Massacre, because we read Pulp, which is with Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, with Jacob doing the colors, and absolutely love that book. Still fantastic. All the Western like backstory for the character is just phenomenal. And then when I found out that Jacob was working with Chris on this, I was just like, dude, count me in. Like, we're gonna do just full on Western with Jacob doing all the illustration and the color, and it is just, it's gritty. It's again, I don't know how he does it with the textures, the lighting. We'll get into it more, but this is like watching you guys nailed it, like watching a Western.
Yeah.
Like the flashbacks are this weird, interesting color and like flat textures and or flat blocky colors. It's just so cool. This is a great book. If you love Westerns, and we've talked about a few of them, like you really need to go out of your way and get this. I'm just gonna spoil it. I mean, we tend not to cover books that we don't like, but if you are a fan of Westerns, this belongs on your shelf.
Oh yeah. Well said. Well said, my friend.
It's also self-contained. It's just this one story of 6 issues.
Yeah.
You do not need the context of That Texas Blood to enjoy it. I am
Nope.
the proof of that. I mean, I
Same.
have not read That Texas Blood at all. There's not. I'm sure that once I read That Texas Blood, I'm going to want to go back to this for whatever reason. I mean, I'll probably just read this book multiple times in my life to begin with. It's so good.
Just the cover too, the cover design. Like if you had all of the issues, it would be one big image, which is in the book.
Yeah, I
in the
love that they
back.
put that as the back matter,
Yeah.
because that was one thing I was like felt like I was missing out on with these like paintings that he did. I mean, these are just
Yeah.
amazing.
If you just put it all
Not
together, big ass scene.
Not to toot my own horn, but I do have every single issue, like of just the regular print run. So
Oh wow.
that was one of the things I absolutely loved. I mean, it's what, 6 issues, so
Yeah.
it's not a super long run, but it is gorgeous to be able to sit there and like put all the issues together and see that full painting. It's amazing.
So good.
Hmm.
Oh, what a guy. Anyways, let's dive in, guys.
Yeah, let's
get
take
into the
our
entree.
deep dive.
Yeah.
It begins in classic Western fashion. Well, one amazing title page,
Dude,
just
seriously.
perfect.
And color
Big,
assist by
blocky.
Pip Martin as well. So we got some other coloring action going on. Anyway, yeah, design itself in this book, graphic design, really feels like an old Western movie. I'm a fan.
Yes.
Got the woodblock
And the
text.
topic of go ahead.
No, I'm good. It's just got the woodblock text, like that you'd see back in the day. Yeah.
And just the fact that this story opens with such morbidity, like just the the sideshow display in 1906 Oklahoma, where we have Enfield's body on display for all these people coming to look at it, and then kind of matching that transition with meeting our hero, and a perfect character intro. Westerns, you got to get the first scene right. You know,
You do.
you got to set the tone. You got to introduce our character. And who is it? It's a guy who's relatively cordial and friendly with a bank attendant that he's robbing.
Yep.
And he just robs it and goes on his merry way. He's just like, you know what? I'll be back next month. Like, what a great setup.
Yeah. You can just hear the music tune in once they run away.
Exactly. I love almost this Shakespearean overture where you've got the as you pointed out in Oklahoma, that carnival barker that's just kind of setting up all the big plot beats. You know, oh, it's wild, it's dark, it's haunting, it's a dangerous tale of everything, and then just that transition. I mean, God, how cinematic can you get, right? Let's add some foreshadowing. You know, we already know he dies. We don't know when or how or why. And then, like you said, what a great character beat right off the bat. A cordial felon, if you will.
Yeah, he's got the charms. He's got the charms. You know.
And one thing that I love, and this story really is emblematic of about the West, is that, like, of course there are all of the, like, John Wayne, John Ford westerns that are idyllic and beautiful, and it's like, look at this aspirational mythology of America, how we were these frontiersmen and we lived by our own laws and we were these heroes. But everybody's favorite westerns are about the death and the closing of the West, the end of the outlaw era. You go to movies like, you know, your spaghetti westerns, like the Dollars trilogy. The Wild Bunch is a great one.
Oh, yeah.
Once Upon a Time in the West. Unforgiven as kind of the closer. All these movies are about, like, the death of that lifestyle, the closing of the idealism and the mythology and the freedom. And
the Red Dead Redemption games too.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Great example. Just how these guys come to terms with the fact that their lifestyle is, and their run is over, basically. Yeah. And this book is just that in spades. Because again, the West was mythological. It was not cool to live in the American West. You were shitting in a hole and fending for survival. Your sister was dying of cholera, and, you know, it was just awful, you know? Like, it was hyper violent, and people were dying of diarrhea pretty much constantly. And there was no one took baths. It was disgusting.
There was no AC.
There's no air conditioning.
You know, until there was.
Sounds like a sweet deal.
I think that movie theaters back in the day were like the first, like, big places with AC in them when they were playing movies. I'm pretty sure, like,
they had to be, basically, because the film would burn.
Yeah. So like, people would literally go there just to hang out in the AC, and then they're watching these movies. Which is insane.
Yeah.
And then now every building has AC. Isn't it awesome, guys?
It rolls.
When we think about it.
Yeah, seriously.
Dude, I love just that the Western lingo where the bank teller gets robbed, and as Enfield's leaving the bank through the doors, you just get that tarnation. Dude, that stuff just cracks me up.
Tarnation.
I love it.
I'm glad you brought that up. This book does have a lot of accents and dialect in its text. And I'm always 50-50 on that, because when it works, you don't notice it, and it's great, and it builds into the, like, vocalizing and characterization of what's going on. But when it doesn't work, it just becomes unintelligible.
Right.
And so, like, I was kind of almost waiting, because it at times it felt overused, but it never didn't work in this book. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something that I think about when I'm writing. It's like, I want them to have this goofy accent, but I don't want to, like, phonetically spell it out, because it becomes a pain in the ass to letter and make it sound right and feel good.
I forget if it was, man, I don't know which old cartoonist it was for the newspapers. It was like newspaper strips, but there was one guy that would, like, write all of his characters in that sort of accent. Like, every single one would have, like, a weird accent. So it's just like, how do you enjoy reading. I can't
Yeah.
read it. But I mean, here is like subtle, like, you know, everyone's got like a little twang or something to the voice, but like with the old school strip like that, and then it's just like unintelligible, like you were saying. You can't overdo it for sure. For sure.
The one thing that, and I don't know if either of you guys kind of felt this way while reading through it, the piece that I find so challenging with the book is sometimes I have to go back and really study the dialogue to find out what their names are, like to find out who's who. Because aside from, you know, Enfield, like the rest of them are just like, yeah, and then you got old, you know, Eli over there, Texas Ranger, and you got old Bill Barley, and he's dead, and you got old Danny and LQ and Edgar and Mowbray, and it's like, wait, which ones are those? Because there's nowhere in it aside from Enfield where you're just like, oh, great to see you, Texas Ranger Captain Eli, and then like, you know, big word bubbles, and there's a big splash panel with this guy. They're just, it's all couched in like, this stuff's happening, everybody knows everybody, and everything just seems, again, like it all just is a part of that everyday culture. And for the book, it works, but man, having to read through here, and especially when you meet the rest of like Enfield's gang, like I had to wait. What's his wife's name? What's who are the other characters in the gang? Because some of those really matter later on in all.
Yeah, I will with those newspaper article bits. I know those dive into like some characters and kind of do like a little deep dive on them. Am I wrong? I've read like 2 of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no, they do.
They do. Okay.
Yeah, you get a lot of like LQ West, and the first article really talks about some of the infields as well as John Mowbray. So if anything, I love those as supplemental materials, and Kev's got it up right there. These are some of the coolest pieces of the text. It's not only the story, but they're even adding more color in the form of these Texas Record articles. And I mean, when you think about it, you know, newspapers weren't always prominent, right? They were almost like these little sheets that would be like, this is the Texas Record, and we printed, this is issue 87 of our year, August 1996, and it's just following this story along, and I absolutely love how much is included in here, and the fact that like each one of them says to be continued, and then it picks up after the next one, and it picks up after the next one. So it's, by the time you've read all of it, it's this massive report on everything that went on.
100%.
Yeah.
I love these. They're meaty, and they're like the reason why this book takes so long to read. But what they tie into very well thematically is the element of perspective, which I really loved in this book, because we have kind of the raw experience of Enfield, Montgomery Enfield, and his gang. We see what happens to them. We see the murder of Bill Barley that we're also concerned about, and the narrative being espoused by the sheriff and Mowbray. And we see this other story starting to unravel as the former sheriff, who quits in the middle of this book, investigates on his own what he thinks really happened. And on top of that, we have the journalists in the newspaper articles poking holes in the story and trying to make sense of what they've found on their own after the fact. And it's just like this swirl of like, what story is real?
Right.
What does it mean? Who's telling the truth? What actually happened? And it's like a brilliant way to frame this story that isn't really a mystery as a mystery to kind of propel you through the entire 6 issues. It's so well done. Like, I think if you didn't have the newspaper articles, the story would almost be a lot less effective. Like, it was such a smart choice. And I know a lot of people have certain feelings about reading walls of text in their comic books. Looking at you, John Hickman haters.
John Hamm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but I love this shit. I will always read this. I'm so on board.
Well, so one thing I want to make clear, you talked about, actually seeing the murder of Bill Barley. It's like we get one page of Bill Barley strung up in the rafters with he looks like he's been brutally dispatched.
Or just hacked.
But
yeah.
But when we last saw Bill Barley with Montgomery Enfield, he didn't like the fact that he got robbed, but they seemed to leave on, all right terms. Montgomery
very alive.
Very, very much alive. So
not disemboweled, that's crazy. Man, the color palette in this book is great. Just love the subtleties of the pinks and the blues, the oranges at nighttime.
The oranges in the bar. Oh my gosh.
And then you could just feel the heat when it's daytime. It's great.
Yeah. 100%. I love how messy it all is. This is like a Jacob Phillips hallmark where it's just this splotch of color rather than blending things. It's just this.
Dude, it's
in the
designing
middle.
a stroke, man. It's great. It's amazing. And then it's abstract at times too, but it's kind of it's making your eye go in that direction because it's usually a lighter value when he has something of interest. It's it's done very, very thoughtfully, which is great. But it's also like you were saying, there's no blending or anything, and that's great. He also leaves that sort of natural brush stroke texture on there. Whatever digital brushes he's using, they're looking pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, he does these things. I'm looking at almost the wear in the wood and the light streaks coming on him on the jacket, and it's it is very organic and feels very deliberate.
Yeah.
But it also it's abstract, but it's mimicking real light and real organic wear and tear. So that it's just it just stands out every time I look at Jacob Phillips's coloring work.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. I think he mentioned that he used a palette knife. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think he's made a lot of these textures and scanned them in, and then there it is.
Interesting.
With some of
That's
them,
awesome.
not everything. But anyway, yeah, this so good. Everything's well thought out, well designed. The feel, the look. God damn.
Well, and I'm going to say, I'm a sucker for actually doing something with onomatopoeia. And, I mean, with a Western, that's a big darn deal. You can't just leave it stagnant, especially if you're going to have shootouts and everything. So there's so much, just like the clicking back of the hammer on the gun, to the amount of kablams in this book.
Oh yeah.
Don't play a drinking game while reading this, or do.
Yeah.
You'd be very happy afterwards. But man, absolutely love just the way they play around with the onomatopoeia of all that. So good.
Yeah, man. It definitely reminds me of some of this feel reminds me of the Batman Year One, with the lettering, and maybe it's just the thickness on the onomatopoeias and stuff and certain line work. But yeah, it's great. The lettering in this whole book too is just well designed. Like I was saying earlier, with the woodblock text, and that's used for a lot of sound effects, like the kablams we're seeing over here and stuff. But he's definitely taken some notes from Sean Phillips too, with his lettering and just his whole approach to comics, but with a flair of Jacob Phillips.
Exactly. That 2-page spread that Kev's got up, man, I stared at this for the longest time.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. You've got the post that's in the middle of the page that's getting shredded and taking some of the fire. You've got people climbing over the bar while shooting behind them. It just gives the feeling of chaos, going down in this bar fight.
But
Oh, yeah.
also, like, one thing I love about Western shootouts is that they're standing fucking still.
Yeah. And they're missing.
Like, what do they think is gonna happen? You know what I mean? Move your feet, dog.
Oh man, so funny.
But yeah, man. I mean, I love the speed lines with the bullets whizzing and blood just spraying off of things, and oh.
Oh yeah.
And the dude with the dynamite killed me. It was
Yeah,
just
man.
like throwing a single stick of dynamite in a closed-in room. Like, what's your end game here, pal? What do you think's gonna happen?
I absolutely love it. So good.
It's just like,
And
dude.
again, the onomatopoeia when that thing goes off, I love how he's playing around with that. I mean, it's just really a single page would just focused on an explosion and like one person in the foreground. But man, there's so much energy in there
Yeah.
that leads to this mess that you find on the next page. I mean, this is a pretty bloody book when
Oh,
you think
yeah.
about it. And, you know, that's the way when these things went down. That's the way it would be.
It is called the Enfield Gang
Massacre.
Massacre.
Yeah, it's
So,
true.
it is people getting murdered in mass.
Ow, ow.
Um,
Wow.
Something to consider. But yeah, I love the transition to just the red. I mean, I know everything's on fire, but like just the
Dude, yeah, it's great.
severity, the urgency,
And then
the
just how
shit
it
fully hitting the
flashes.
fan.
Yeah, it just and then flashes to the next scene. That transition is awesome. I loved it.
Hmm.
You just feel the heat in that page, man, and then you're just feeling the softness in the next one.
And like, I love that this love story between Enfield and his wife, which is her name Anna. Is that the name?
Oh man.
I was gonna say, I was trying to track down all the names just before we jumped on here. I want to say that's correct, but there's a couple of ladies in this book, and
I want to make sure because he calls her baby. Oh, Amy, not Anna. Amy. Yeah, I mean, I too got the names confused a bit, but no matter. I feel like I didn't need them fully to understand the story. You know what I mean? I know that's
Yeah.
Enfield, and then there's bad guys and his gang members
Yeah.
and his wife.
Yeah, pretty much. I was just like, what's gonna happen now?
I mean, truly, it's just like all hands on deck. Shit has hit the fan. The level of urgency and desperation is just at peak, basically from moment to moment. Like they are pinned down and figured out from the beginning of this story. And like I know that there's usually that narrative formula where it's like, and then the going gets tough, but then we outsmarted our enemy, or we came up with a plan and we got ourselves out of it. And that shit did not happen at all.
Yeah.
It is just pain and misery and losing after losing after losing. And like I mean, a lot of great crime stories are that way. Just what can go wrong? All of it. We're gonna make the worst possible outcome happen every situation. It's kind of crime writer formula, and that Texas Blood is a crime book, so that application to this makes a ton of sense.
It's also like no one's really the good guy, you know? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. Love that little gray hat kind of thing.
Yeah, but it really does like make you kind of pull into question your morality. You're like, well, clearly this guy's an asshole. He robbed a bank.
Yeah.
But the guys who are trying to kill him are monsters.
Yeah, they just immediately jump. Well, I guess we gotta kill him. No point
Frontier justice.
Yeah, no point in doing any
kill that
investigating. While the Texas Ranger just figures it out like 5 minutes in.
And like even when you're calling into question, like that doesn't seem right. That seems pretty fucked up. Like these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
You have this crisis of faith conversation with the sheriff and the former sheriff and Mowbray, and then you get the profile on Mowbray, and it's like he thought he was acting in the will of God.
Right.
He was so assured of himself, and like just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And they
Like
just
it
keep
really makes you
digging
go,
into it.
"Oh God,
Mhm.
he is the bad guy. Like he's
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
sheriff doing lawful good things. He's a monster."
Well, and I think that's one thing that took me a while to figure out. So you've got Edgar, who is actually the acting sheriff when this starts, and then Captain Eli is the Texas Ranger. So he's our white-haired dude.
Yeah.
And the part that's most confusing is there are times where Mowbray, he's the one that's very much like uh, we've got to kill the Enfields and take care of them all. They're just a bunch of filthy people, and they don't deserve to live. And in the book, Mowbray and the sheriff Edgar at times look pretty darn similar when they've got their hats on. When they got their hats off, like it's a different story. And I think it's excellent the kind of character growth that you get from the acting sheriff, especially when they go out to the infields and he's following the Texas Ranger and letting the Texas Ranger kind of do his thing. And after a little bit, Edgar, the sheriff, is just like, you know what, this ain't right, and has a change of heart. And he's the one that actually goes back to town and starts to investigate this further.
Yeah. And it's just funny how the answer just lands right at him,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, Sheriff, how you doing? By the way, I saw some dude.
But yeah, Mowbray has it in for the Enfields.
Yeah.
He does not like them.
I mean, like this horrifying moment where the sheriff leaves, he's walking alone in the desert at night. He hears the gunshot and he winces. He feels the pain, and it's the woman who gets shot. Just like, oh no, my husband's dead, and like reaches over and bam, just gets fucking toasted, dude. You're like, oh shit, these guys mean fucking business. They're not fucking around. They're killing all of them.
Yeah.
Dude, how terrible is it that they drag the corpses of the two that the ranger kills outside of the barn, or outside of the bar, and they like tie him to horses and like send the horse into the infield's like housing area. Like that is just freaking rough.
Dude. Yeah, it's intense. But man, I think this guy though with the Gatling gun, man, that character pinup, and I think what the character deep dive is that he was a former slave or escaped, and then got in with the gang. Yeah, dude, what a story, man. I'm just like, I want a game where I play as this guy. He just brought that gun everywhere, man.
Yeah, he was Gatling gun Greg.
Oh man, it's awesome, man. It's definitely. Do you think that's like a callback to the Django movie, like the old school Django movie, where he's like towing that coffin around, and then there's a Gatling gun inside it the whole time? You know?
I mean, yes, Gatling guns were kind of like the biggest weapon of the era. It was like the first time there was anything close to an automatic weapon ever. So
that's true.
Automatically you had to hand crank, so not exactly automatic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Fired an ass ton of bullets all at once. And it just makes me think of the mission in Red Dead 1 where you're just on the train and like the Mexican army is chasing after you and you just mow down like thousands of people.
That's insane.
So much fun. God, I want to replay that game.
Yeah. I have to bring out my Xbox and play it, man. Jeez. I got the itch now.
Now I just hear the score in my head. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Oh, so good. God. Anyway.
But he's going to get his shave.
Gets his shave.
I love that barbers are like this confidant and like a trusting figure in any society. You know what I mean?
Like,
I love the exchange.
What kind of conversations? Like, do you guys have conversations like that with your barber or what?
I mean, not like to this level, but I have some pretty in-depth conversations with the people who cut my hair. You're sitting there for like, well, at least I am for like 40 minutes,
Yeah.
40 minutes to an hour, so we just get talking. I think the last guy who cut my hair, we just talked about like 80s punk and restoring old trucks for like an hour. So he was a cool guy.
I had the same hairstylist for like 10 years when I was back in Indiana. And yeah, I mean, pretty much we knew each other's family, always asked how the other one was doing. So, you know, there would be long discussions, but
Oh, dude.
that's the kind of relationship I get here, right? And of course, it's a small town, it's the West. So when you've got F or EPH, however you want to say that, if, thank you, if, gonna do that day. But yeah, that just noticing, no, you don't have a star on there, and then just saying, I didn't agree with something the way it felt. I love that line. Never knew you for the quitting type. Which leads us to he's gonna check into this a little bit further. I just those little easy line transitions that they make look so simple, but man, I would never know how to write like that. So I definitely envy you, Kev, like being able to figure that kind of stuff out from a storytelling perspective. I just thought that was just such a smooth transition.
And again, like thematically calling into question that idea of perspective. Hey, maybe you didn't look at this the right way. And he's like, well, then maybe I should look at it the right way. And making sure that we're getting the truth of the matter. Which, I mean, truth, I guess, is something that's explicitly called out in those newspaper articles.
Yeah.
This is what really happened. That's my role as this investigative reporter, is to figure out what the Enfield Gang Massacre actually was, who these people were, what actually happened. And coming to those conclusions from old letters and county records and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I know with this one, was it that the newspaper article goes back and like kind of dives into the sheriff a little bit? It's just like he was kind of a quiet type later on.
There's a whole profile on the sheriff.
Yeah. But like ever since he quit, he turned he was pretty quiet or whatever. It's like kind of a different person. I don't know if I'm remembering that wrong or whatever, but anyway, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, he owned a saloon where, there was gambling and, well, let's say companionship is the line in the article. And then that just kind of like fell apart. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I love this last passage here leading into the end. Like the thing that calls in all the motivations to question. To this day, I believe that Ambrose County suffers the curse of John Mowbray, a curse that runs deep down into the soil of this land and has poisoned it ever since. The purpose of this article, I suppose, is to provide an exorcism. I aim, in my small way, to save the soul of Ambrose County. To do this, we have to talk about a hard, simple truth. John Mowbray may have not pulled the trigger, but he certainly is the man responsible for the murder of Bill Barley and the countless deaths that followed over the next 5 days in 1875. And I intend to prove it. To be continued.
So good. And there's a passage, the very first paragraph. We'll get to it. I don't want to rush because I know we're kind of going through the issue by issue here. But after issue 4, there's another one of these companion pieces, and that first paragraph in that companion piece just tells you everything you need to know about Mowbray and like his thoughts on Enfield and the rest of the gang. But we'll get there.
We will get there. Because before we get there, we have to show the Gatling gun. Because it's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
This gambit that Enfield tries to pull where he's like, I'm coming out, getting the dead, and where he's like, I'm putting a stop to your antics. And then these reloads when he kind of plans the ambush to get these guys out of there. Yeah. This is a great onomatopoeia. Clack, 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 clack. And just blowing up the hills. This shit is so sick.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite panels or pages right there. It's just now, and then clack, 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 clack. Everyone just pulling back the hammers. That's great. And then, oh shit.
Oh shit.
Gotta have a standoff. Click, click, bam, bam, bam. Oh, dude. So good. And this is the cover they needed to make their escape.
Yeah, nailed it.
Thinking about the women and the children. And this is when we loop in the former Union soldiers into this situation, which was just like so devious. Just these motherfuckers who have just got they're soldiers without a war, and so they're just hungry to fucking murder people, and that is crazy. And I think a great little turn because all of us would prefer to think that the losers of the war, the Confederate Army, would be the kind of pieces of shit, but making them Union soldiers, a nice little touch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Play with expectations a little bit.
Soldiers for hire.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you fought in the Civil War, which I hope you're not watching this stream if you fought in the Civil War, you should be studied by science. If you fought in the Civil War, you were a guy who was killing Americans, which is the craziest thing about that war. Still our deadliest on record.
That's crazy.
I love that every gang, though, in a Western has to have one priest or
Dude, I was
pastor
literally
of some
gonna
kind.
say that. It's like every single thing has, like, every group has their pastor or whatever. And this one gets boop, shot.
Crackoon.
Yeah, as soon as the lightning strikes too.
So rough.
That's awesome.
Just straight up headshot.
Hey, something's happening. What's that? There.
Damn. So good.
And this stable house is kind of like the real last stand where this all goes down.
Dude.
You have the gang cornered, people dying, and we have the two motherfuckers who double cross the gang in here. I believe that's in this issue.
I think we got another issue to find the double crossers. These are
I'm getting ahead of myself.
These are guns for hire.
Guns for that's right. Are these the Union guys? No, the Union guys are in the cave.
Union guys are in the cave. This is where it gets confusing with all the names and everything. But I think these are guys that like Mowbray splits off from the rest of the group and sends off in advance because they kind of hole up in the house, and then as the Enfields are escaping, they jump out and get them. And then, of course, then you've got the Union soldiers that come up after this attack. So it's there's all kinds of insanity going on as, storms are brewing.
I loved this animated sequence of, hey, they're reloading, and then like the thumb going into the gun here with the bullet. And she grabs the rifle pinned under the horse and just fucks that dude up.
Yeah, that sequence is amazing. When they shoot each other too, that one's that panel's awesome.
And her reaction is, "Damn it!"
Dude,
just such a tough broad.
I'm just like, is she like the what's her name in Red Dead?
Sadie Adler.
Sadie Adler. Yeah. This is what I imagine her. Like, what adventures is she gonna go out to do after this? Gonna hunt down all the sheriffs, huh? No.
And I love that we get the knife thrower chick.
Yeah, man.
Her throwing the knife and just jamming that Union guy in the shoulder.
That was the one where I was like, man, I wanted to know so much more about that character. I love the fact that, like, she was just this killer with knives, right? Yeah, being able to cut the horses free. Then into this and, like, gut shot, that's it. She's down.
I love that almost every piece of violence in this, like, run is, like, kill for kill. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bloodshed begets bloodshed. Just, again, tying into this just, like, brutality of this entire experience is just, so good. I mean, and that's, like, pretty par for the course, not only with Westerns, but, again, with crime stories, which this book is kind of both.
It's going to be tragic.
Yeah, it's going to be tragic and sad, despondent. People are going to die left and right. Yeah. And, God damn, it's so good. I love all of this stuff in the rain. Like I just think the colorization and like the wood grain textures, it's so gritty and gnarly and dark.
Dude. And then I love the sequence with like the like old ranger and the old woman, just in between those action sequences. Or I could just hear her accent or like hear her voice in my head, just like the old woman that always like is talking in the background in the Red Dead Redemption games, Just like, she just thinks it's all figured out. It's great.
That's where we lose our machine gunner.
Yeah, the Gatling gunner.
Yeah, dude.
He just said, "Sorry, I got hit."
Yeah, dude. Sad news bears.
Yep.
I was like, we gotta have another. No.
I love the conversation with the barmaid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's great. I just imagine the voice. And like the animation.
There's L drink to it.
Yeah. I'll just
And
take the bar.
This sequence where they pry open the boards in the wall and they're like, "Oh, we can get out of here, hey!" And it's like,
dude, the hope in his eyes.
You crazy son of a bitch! He's actually gonna make it. And then blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Just fucked up.
God.
Oh man. Again, just death. He's cornered. He's fucked. No escape. We're screwed. She's on the run. And, she finds this cave. Maybe there's a hope of safety.
Nope.
Guy playing Oh My Darling Clementine. And nope, it's another one of them union fuckers in the cave. It's just like there's not every single moment that there's a shred of hope, it's squashed.
Yeah,
every
it's gone.
second of this story.
And it's gone. Oh, look,
which is great.
And it's gone.
It shows you, though, that like when you're trying to write a story that is a series of tragedies, you have to build up this anticipation and this expectation that the goal could potentially be achieved, that they could get out of this fucked up situation, that they might actually get away with it, escape, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And every chance that you think it's going to work, boom, you squash it.
Not.
It does that page over page over page. You still buy into the fact that maybe this will be the time. It's been so bad. There's no way that they're just going to keep raining shit on these characters. And they do.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
And you know how it ends because of the very beginning of the story. We see the dead guy.
Massacre.
Yeah, we see the dead guy.
That everyone dies.
Yeah.
Several times they say it.
But you're just like, one person? Who does it?
Someone's got to get out.
No, an entire crew, an entire posse. Well, and like we were saying, it's men, women, and children.
Right.
And this, so Kev, if you read the first paragraph of this, and then I think it's the first sentence of the next paragraph. It's like this tells you everything you need to know about Mowbray.
I saw it as my duty to rid this county of these filthy souls, men, women, or children. I saw nor difference, nor will I. I believe, in fact, that it has been my purpose in this life to protect this county from the poison I believe these individuals bring with them in their very blood. By the grace of God, I shall persevere.
Jeez.
These are the words of John Mowbray. Written in a private journal sometime after the massacre took place. It's freaking horrifying.
Yeah, sounds, like deja vu.
I know, if you listen to some of the crazy stuff that's out there today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they're not hidden in some private journal either. They're in emails and said on live TV, and apparently people are okay with it, or at least some people. So I find it very concerning, but
it's crazy.
Man, when they're collecting these bodies and you get this panel of just that shit-eating evil grin on this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's terrifying, man.
Dude, what a great villain. You hate this guy. And that is good writing.
Yeah.
When you feel so strongly about something you hate so much, like.
Yeah. And that's their feeling, man. They believe what they're doing is right, which makes that villain very interesting. Like he's a lunatic. He thinks he's correct. No, sir.
I mean, and every villain should be written that way. They don't necessarily have to have that like Thanos level of like depth and understanding, but they have to believe that they're right. If they're conflicted, it makes for a wishy-washy story. I'm never really a fan of like and then he saw the light and everybody got along and they were all friends at the end. Much more a fan of like Inglourious Bastards, where this rat fuck Hans Landa, played by Christoph Waltz, is so evil, and he's like, and now I'm just going to get away with it. And Brad Pitt's like,
nope.
Nah. And they carve a
that don't sit right with me. What you say? You're gonna burn that suit there? Nah, I just can't live with it.
Perfect. Tarantino understands this. He does it in spades. Like in Django Unchained, when he just fucking brutally massacres Leo DiCaprio and all those motherfuckers.
I couldn't resist.
House. It's amazing. One of my favorite scenes is say goodnight, miss, whatever her name is, and she's like, good night, miss, and then he just shoots her so hard that she flies off camera.
Yeah. The sequences are so good. They're just flying.
It's gotta feel good.
Yeah. God.
Dude, this part coming up, this was the switcheroo that I was not prepared for, because there's only 3 left.
Right.
Enfield and 2 more of his posse.
The last 2 guys in his posse fucking double-crossed him.
Yep.
Those lying, gambling, philanderous motherfuckers.
And those are the ones that live.
The shit-eating grin on this dude. He's like, yep, I'm getting out of debt and I'm going to get away with it. And Enfield's like, nope, actually, fuck you.
It's like Bill Williamson in Red Dead 1 and 2. This is like that's the vibe, like aura that I get from this dude.
You mean Micah?
No, the hillbilly guy. I'm pretty sure it's Bill Williamson. He's got like that
big dude,
crusty,
with the big beard.
Yeah, he's got the crusty beard and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I get with this guy. Although very similar to Micah as well with the double crossing. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what I think is interesting, and I had to go back and look at this, but LQ, he's the last guy left with Enfield in this barn. And when Enfield was going looking for somebody out on the ranch when he got back, like LQ was the one that was in the barn that was like, whoa, put that gun away. What are you doing? And here it is. Enfield even hands him a rifle. So it's like he trusted this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And then he has the reveal. I killed the banker. I killed Bill Barley.
That name too. Barley. Bill Barley. It just sounds very cowboy. That's right, Bill Barley. Great.
Bill Barley.
Bill Barley.
He gets his comeuppance. You're a son of a bitch. Ain't wrong, but that don't mean I ain't gonna survive neither. Kablam, kablam. And that's all we get of that, like, unceremonious fucking end to this dude. And he's cornered. They're just waiting for him. This is the end of Red Dead 1 right here, where all the sheriffs and motherfuckers are waiting outside the barn.
Yep.
And you're locked in it.
Yeah.
John Marston is ready to meet his end.
Yeah, sends his family on the way. They didn't surround that barn entirely. Oh, man.
And he's still got this smile the whole time. Crooked smile here. Just a big old grin. So self-assured. A self-righteous piece of shit.
Killing is bad, okay?
And how is, because if this didn't happen, if we didn't have this sequence with Amy coming off the horse and dangling this bait in front of him, he would have gone out like John Marston. He would have just run out, guns blazing.
Went Deadeye Dick mode, aimed at a few guys, shot, and then blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you're like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? No.
That really bummed me out when I was a kid playing that game.
Load the save.
I thought there was a way you could win.
Yeah.
But nobody wins in the West. That's the whole
Nobody.
point of the story. I should have known that.
Damn it.
I was fucking 13 or 14 when that game came out, so I'm not exactly the smartest man. But look what the cat dragged in.
Yeah.
Fucking talking about us like we're nothing but cattle. Why? Because I can with that fucking gun.
Yeah.
Oh, what a dick. She's already restrained, and he's gonna put a gun in her face. Not like the Texas Rangers any better, but
Right.
I did want to call out because we did jump past this before we get too far. But the sheriff has been asking around. So while LQ, who was the traitor, and Enfield were having their confrontation, you do get like a 2-page insert where
Right.
the former sheriff talks to the body. Mortician. Thank you. God. Brain. And talks about, like, Enfield didn't, like, Enfield's killed folks, sure, but he didn't do this to Barley. And he's like, and I'd even testify to it. So it's like, all right, giving us some hope. Even though all this stuff's gone crazy, everything's bad. If Enfield can get through all this, hey, maybe he's got a shot. And yeah, they even, after the confrontation, and they get Enfield's wife out there, and finally drag him in. We do see that the former sheriff is talking to, I would assume that's like the governor, or I don't know who he is. He was the one leading the town meeting at the beginning, and he's trying to talk him into understanding, like, all this was done because Mowbray's, like, he's got something going on.
He's out of his mind.
He's going crazy.
It's like talking
And
about
before he
Dutch.
can really get a good conversation, they bring in Enfield in along with his wife.
It's just that, it's Lee Van Cleef, man. That's all I see.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
entirely Lee Van Cleef.
Oh,
I
very much.
love it so much. God.
I mean, look at this chiseled motherfucker, looking like the Greek statue of fucking, like, Socrates or whatever.
Yeah.
Just this fucking god with the beard. Yeah. I mean, just brutally dehumanizing Enfield in all of his last moments. And then the newspaper article afterwards is actually alluding to the fact that Amy survives. She has living descendants. They had a kid. How is this possible if no one survived? Well,
Let me show
find
you.
in issue 6, our conclusion to the story, Enfield and his wife Amy have their last exchange. Talking about their last moment.
So good.
Just thinking about watching the sunrise when we came down from El Paso. We was looking out at the sky, sitting at the base of Jackson Peak, and then they're gonna kill us. Honey, they gonna try. And they hang that noose around his neck. And I don't know if I was the only one who fell for this. But basically, as they, you got the sheriff all pissed off that this is happening. You've got, Mowbray on his high horse talking about what a piece of shit, he is, and that he's so excited that he gets to kill Enfield. And we have this moment of doubt in this conversation between the sheriff and the mayor, I guess whoever it is, Clyde Garris. Folks around here call me Judge, so I guess he's a judge, town leader of some sort. They're fans of due process, so they were able to get Amy out of the situation, and they alluded that here. That's why she's not getting hanged, but she has to watch. And then, well, first of all, when he cracks the whip and you hear the crack with her eyes, that is so sick. Just beautifully done.
Yeah, that
emphasizes that terror.
And the tear.
That single tear. I know. That got me too.
Going right down the A. That's beautiful.
And when this happens, and she has this vision of herself grabbing the gun and shooting him down, and they ride off into the sunset, and they, start a homestead and raise a kid, and it's this beautiful sequence. I was like, oh man, did that really happen? Are we just breezing through
Dude,
things?
yeah, when I saw
Like,
that
I
him
got really
playing with the
excited for
kid,
a second.
I was just like,
I mean,
no,
and again, knowing
no.
that she gets away, you're like, oh, this is all plausible. But no, this is just the flash of the life she could have had before her eyes, before the eventual snap. I also love including Mowbray's evil smile here, just
Yeah.
completely dehumanized with just the teeth and the black.
Dude, the
Death.
tiny,
Wet hair.
tiny eyes, little tiny
Yeah.
pins.
Showing death right there. You know, he's just evil incarnate.
And here he is hanging. This, I mean, giving this a 2-page spread to really get this moment set.
Oh,
Really
God.
snaps you out of the experience too. You're like, oh no, fuck.
Dude, the
really
crows
happened.
above that too, just circling.
Mm.
Oh, that's great.
All this dust cloud texture that he's doing with just these very simple brush marks.
Right.
And everyone watches the horse. People are cheering it on. I mean, this shot of him hanging and her total meltdown is so
Dude, that was
justified and
yep.
felt. It's brutal.
That's like
Just screaming.
insane. I was like, no. They're sick. They're sick.
Yeah, what have you done? What have you done? Cut him down. And this isn't enough. None of this was enough. And you people just watch. What's wrong with you people? This was our home. Damn you all.
Yeah.
I mean, her stuttering, just covered in mud and dirt and shit. Oh, just falling apart.
Been through it, man.
Dude. And again, just everybody watching and staring. No one doing a damn thing. Crazy.
Yeah. Just this total isolation emotionally.
Oh.
Very well covered.
And then the transition. Perfect transition. Exactly
so
like the
good.
beginning. And we're back.
And that, my friends, is the true story. And, this guy's explaining that this was the true story. This is everything that really happened.
Right.
And the moment where she comes up is
she just
fucking
waves.
so powerful.
Waves them
She
off
walks up and
the fact she has to pay a dime
to see
her husband's corpse. Yeah, and I mean, and when she looks at the corpse, she doesn't see, this fucked up zombie mummy guy.
That's what she sees.
She sees him for who he was.
Yeah.
Love it.
Brilliant touch of color.
Yeah.
So
and then
hard.
just this slow pull out is kind of the conclusion to our story is, until we get to just this night sky, this breather, it's just fucking, devastating. And for those at home, essentially what the last newspaper article says is the reporter was able to track down the last living descendant, kind of parse out the truth of what actually happened. Amy went on to live a long life, get married again, have more children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, who's the descendant that we're here with. And they were able to put his body, Montgomery Enfield's body, next to hers in Connecticut, where their family property was.
Wow.
In an unmarked grave that just said Enfield.
Damn. That's so good. This whole storyline too is from just like a little clip in Texas Blood, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was mentioned somewhere. It was just like a background thing in Texas Blood, and then they made a whole damn thing about it.
Yeah, that's I need that extra context from that Texas Blood. I love this closing marker. How Enfield was retrieved by Amy remains something of a mystery, though my best guess would be that she likely purchased his remains from Doc Malady or one of his cronies after their routine stops in Oklahoma. My assumption is that this coincided with her travel from Arkansas to Oklahoma sometime in 1906, but we don't know for certain. What we do know is that here he is, and here he shall remain, at rest and hopefully at peace. No sign of struggle, no signs of murder, massacre, or mayhem. No sign of John Mowbray or the guns of Quentin Eli. No conniving or secret conspiracies. Just a family laid to rest together.
Oh, so glad you read that. That was the part that I love the fact that at some point she was able to finally lay him to rest, and the fact that they were both together in the end. Again,
Yeah,
not
it's the least he could do. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. But
Hey, here, am I
he-
muted? I
the
think
last
you're
pic-
muted there, big boy.
Uh-oh. Yeah, check that volume.
My mic levels have been good this whole time.
Same.
Brock's trolling. Well, where the fuck you been, Brock? We're almost at the end of the stream here.
Yeah, and here it is. We can look very quickly at that. What is it? A 6-page short? Or,
Yeah,
the little train
house.
heist. It's awesome.
Oh, it's so cool.
I loved it. I didn't fully understand where in the timeline it took place. I'm assuming long before, because this motherfucker died in the dynamite explosion at the saloon.
Right.
1868 is what it says.
1868, and this story began
In
75.
1875. Yep. Yeah. So this train heist gone wrong is several years before our regular story takes place.
And I just loved this sequence. You know, he puts way too much dynamite down. It blows up too late and blows up the whole train. Gavin, the hell did you do? And he said, I blew it. And it was just money burning in the air around him. That's just hilarious. What a great little thing. And I mean, like, a great way to do. Was that even? Okay, so it was 6 pages.
Yeah.
Just all set up and pay off. This is how you do a mini comic. We talk about a lot how we tackle mini comics. We do 8-pagers a lot. We have a book full of 8-pagers. And how exactly do you tell a 3-act story in 6 to 8 pages? Well, the answer is you don't.
Yep.
It's more of like a joke. Is how I always equate it. It's more of a setup and a punchline. It's a setup and a payoff.
Yep.
Right.
And this is it.
It's
the
mainly
heist gone
like,
wrong.
what does your character want? They want that train, and they want it now.
Oh, shit.
And then they blow it up.
No, he's just laughing. He's smiling with himself, and it leaves you feeling a certain way. So it's an effective 6-pager. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a blast. And then, of course, we just get some good back matter in the fact that it's just the painted covers that all tie together. Which, if I'm looking at this correctly, this here is the gun barrel to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then these two are like this. If I'm understanding correctly. This one's over here. And then where is it? Oh. So this is the other side of this building. Oh no, this is the other side of the church. And this is over here. So this gun is just, yeah. Okay, that's what's it. Yeah, the blood, the texture. So, absolutely loved this book. I loved every second of reading it. Loved the empty gut feeling that it left me with. Utterly tragic. Just super effective, self-contained story. Western writers, crime writers, Western artists, crime artists. Take notes. Really walk away with this book learning something. This is great. We don't get enough good Western comics out there. So if you are anything like us and you like Western books, go to your local comic book store and buy this book. You will not regret a second of reading it. It is beautiful.
True story. True.
Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
Dude, it's good. Go buy it.
I love this book so much. I have all 6 single issues, and I bought the trade because it's one of those where I was worried I was going to destroy the actual singles, and I was like, nope, I gotta have something I can just flip through and dog ear. Holy smokes! Yeah, this book is amazing. Read it.
As Brock says, move to Greensboro so you can go to Acme and buy this book.
That's
Or
right.
just visit Greensboro and go to Acme and buy this book. It's also only a $17 trade. It's incredibly reasonable for the size of this. This is it's a big read, you know? It took me longer than something else that would be a normal 6 issues to read this. There's just so much to it. It's a dense, complex
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
fantastic. Well, anybody have anything they want to say before we go?
Dude, follow us
Go to your
on.
local comic book store.
Yeah, go to the local
Please,
comic
as
shop.
always, go to your local comic book store. If you are at a Comic-Con, go to Artist Alley, talk to the artists,
Yeah.
see what's going on. All those people you see in Artist Alley, they're going to be the people who are making the Enfield Gang Massacre 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So support them, get to know them, buy their originals because Lord knows they're going to get more expensive once they make the Enfield Gang Massacre or
That's
the
true.
books that you like reading. So buy their things now. Brock says he has something to say.
Uh-oh. I gotta hear
Brock,
it.
what do you have to say?
Anyway, we also got the Discord that everyone needs to join. And
Yes, if you want to sit
subscribe
here,
to the
tell us
Substack.
about your favorite comic books,
Yeah.
show us your art, talk to us about art, figure out what's going on with us. Join our Discord. Link is always in my socials. You can go to mouthbreathersguild.com. That will have a Discord invite. That will take you to our newsletter, to our online store, mouthbreathersguild.com, where you can buy our comics. We'll show them again for the lovely people. I mean, you like Westerns? Guess what? We made some.
It's
Look,
true.
they're all in here. Look at this. Look at these Westerns. Look at all these Westerns. Oh, man. These are great. Look at all these Westerns.
Look at it.
Would you
Look
look
at
at that?
But we also have stories that aren't Westerns. We got fantasy and sci-fi and fantasy and sci-fi and all these good stuff. What are you doing, you stupid idiot? Go to mouthbreathersguild.com, buy our books for local artists. If you're at Greensboro Zine Fest, Manny will be there.
That's true. I will
Look,
be.
With about a
Yeah.
half a table.
Yeah.
With a rack of our comics.
It's gonna be. Yeah, I think it's gonna be half a table. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna be there.
Manny's gonna be there. Go. Go
We
talk to Manny. Go
We
buy
also
Manny's
love
stuff.
you.
Got the another podcast on.
That's right.
On Spotify called Some Call It Fiction. I talk shit about sci-fi stories that my buddy reads to me because I don't know how to read. That's our joke. Okay.
There you go. Manny can't read. He just draws.
That's it. I ain't got time to read.
All right, y'all.
All right.
We love you. Buy comics, read comics, make comics, hang out with us.
B Comics.
Have a great Wednesday is when we're recording this live. Have a great Wednesday. Or if you watch this over the weekend or whenever, have a great whenever.
Have a
what
great
I mean? I just hope
future.
you're doing well.
Yeah.
That's right. We love you.
You have a bright future ahead of you. I know it.
You do.
All right. Peace.
All right.